He had already deposed and destroyed 4 kings. He'd ruled Oyo for over 2 decades without ever sitting on its throne. And when the 5th king took power, Bashorun assumed, as he always had, that this one would bend just like the rest. Instead, this king would spend years quietly building the one thing Ga never saw coming. An alliance patient enough and angry enough to finally end him. By the early 1770s, Ga's grip on the Oyo Empire had gone unchallenged for over 20 years. 4 Alaafins had already met their end under his shadow, either forced to take their own lives or otherwise removed the moment they tried to rule independently of him. When Alaafin Majiogbe, the 4th king to reign under Ga's control, came to power, he made one final desperate move before his own death. He managed to poison Ga, leaving the once untouchable Bashorun partially paralyzed. It was the first real crack in Ga's decades of dominance, a physical vulnerability the empire had never seen in him before. Majiogbe's death cleared the way for a new Alaafin, Abiodun, who ascended the throne around 1774. On the surface, Ga had every reason to expect business as usual, but Abiodun understood something his predecessors hadn't fully grasped. Confronting Ga directly through the empire's traditional channels had gotten 4 kings killed. So instead, Abiodun played a longer, quieter game, what ultimately pushed Abiodun past caution and into open conspiracy was deeply personal. According to the historical accounts passed down through Oyo oral tradition, Ga needed a deer for a ritual sacrifice and, unable to find one, ordered his men to kill a young woman instead, one who happened to share a name closely resembling the Yoruba word for deer. That young woman was Agboyin, Alaafin Abiodun's own daughter. Whether read as a ritual killing or a horrifying case of mistaken identity, the result was the same. The king, who had been quietly maneuvering against Ga, now had a reason to move with real urgency. Abiodun understood he couldn't take on Ga's power alone. Ga commanded loyalty across large parts of the empire's military and political structure, built up over more than 2 decades of installing allies and eliminating threats. So, Abiodun reached beyond the palace walls entirely, forging a secret alliance with the Onikoyi, a powerful regional chief, and with Oyabi, who held the position of Arona Kakanfo, commander of the empire's imperial army. This alliance was historically extraordinary in its own right. Never before in Oyo's history had the head of the imperial army marched troops directly into the capital itself to settle an internal political conflict. Doing so meant turning the very military machine Ga had helped command against Ga's own household, a decision that could have plunged the empire into far broader civil war if it had failed. In 1774, the conspiracy moved. Oyabi's soldiers descended on Ga's compound, and in the violence that followed, most of his household was killed, including his wives and children, with only his eldest son reportedly managing to escape the attack and flee the empire entirely. Ga himself, weakened by the paralysis from Majiogbe's earlier poisoning and unable to defend himself the way he once might have, was captured alive. What followed was designed to be as public and as symbolically final as possible. Ga was bound at Akesa Market, directly beside the royal palace he had ruled from the shadows of for over 2 decades. And Alaafin Abiodun ordered that the people of Oyo themselves take part in his execution. each cutting away a portion of his flesh and casting it into a fire burning in front of him. According to oral tradition, his body was deliberately not fully severed in certain places, reflecting a belief that Gaha needed to be destroyed completely to prevent any possibility of his return. With Gaha finally gone, Alaafin Abiodun moved quickly to restore genuine royal authority to the Oyo throne, something the empire hadn't truly experienced in over 20 years. He redirected the empire's focus toward expanding coastal trade relationships with European merchants, ushering in what many historians consider one of Oyo's most prosperous periods. But Gaha's decades-long reign had exposed something the empire could never fully undo. He had proven that Oyo's own constitutional safeguards, the very system of checks built to prevent exactly this kind of one-man rule, could be turned inside out by someone patient and ruthless enough to exploit them. That vulnerability didn't disappear with Gaha's execution. Decades later, as internal power struggles and external pressures continued to strain the empire, some historians point directly back to the precedent Gaha set, proof that the throne of Oyo could be effectively hijacked from within as one of the underlying weaknesses that eventually contributed to the empire's long decline in the following century. Bashorun Gaha ruled an empire for nearly 30 years without ever wearing its crown, and it took a secretly built alliance, a broken royal father's grief, and an execution designed to erase him completely just to bring his reign to an end. He remains one of the most feared and most studied figures in Yoruba history, not because he seized the throne, but because he proved the throne was never the only way to hold absolute power.